Hey guys, my name is David here with X-Wing Versus, and today I have a special video, and it's about 4.5. You'll get the reason for the half later, but 4.5 tips for how to collect X-Wing on a budget. And so that's the key part, because you think about it, you got a core set, which is around $30 to $40, depending if you want the original, if there's a sale on it, or if you want the Force Awakens core set. The original episodes 4 through 6 core set is usually like around $40 from my experience. And then there's all of the additional expansions you want to get, typically a small ship. List price is $15, and then you have the larger small base ships, like an ARC 170 is a great example. Those are usually like around $20. A K-Wing is another one. That is very common, and if you want to play Rebels you're going to want. And then there's the large ships, and some of those are $30, and others of those are $40, like a Decimator. And then finally there's epic ships, which are $60 plus dollars. And so you can easily spend a ton of money on X-Wing. I believe my collection right now, I've passed the $600 mark, pretty sure. And that's because I've been collecting like all of them. But yeah, so obviously if you're just getting started and just getting into X-Wing, and this video is definitely for you. If you've been X-Wing for a while, there are still a couple of like tips in here that could still be beneficial to you. And so tip number 1 is if you're just starting out, pick a faction. The reason you just stick with one is because there's so much stuff. You just got to prioritize what you want and just focus on that, just getting those ships. And then finally there's the 3 factions. So obviously you have the Rebels, the Empire, and the Scum Faction. And kind of just a brief summary of how each of those play. So Rebels are a really good beginner faction because they usually have quite a bit of health and possibly a lot of shields, and they have access to shield regeneration in the form of R2-D2. And for example, if Miranda Donnie, I'm sure you've heard of her, the K-Wing pilot, and yeah, just super powerful regeneration option right there. So definitely something so if you're just starting out and you don't know which faction, you just want to play the game, Rebels is a good fit for you. If you're having a hard time deciding between those 3 factions. The Empire. So the Empire is lots of fun, but it's hard to play well in the sense that, for example, you have Darth Vader, Soontir Fel, and these are all like really powerful aces, but they are super expensive if you want to load them out. They usually take around 35 points. So that's a little over a third of your, a third of your build, of your 100-point build already eaten up in that. So they're pretty expensive to load up their aces. And this is especially true in the case of the TIE Phantom. You have to fly them very well, because especially with the case of the Phantom running another ship, your positioning is very important. Just from my experience with the Empire, you just have to. I feel like because they don't have as much shields, you have to do a lot more to make sure they're out of harm's way, or at least that you're mitigating the risk of like who is shooting them. So that's very, very important. And also, you're just getting started as the Empire. Some ships that are a bit more durable that I would definitely consider is the Starwing. TIE Defenders, they're just fun, having that 4K turn, but you're definitely going to need to get the Imperial Veterans expansion. So that way you have access to the titles, and especially getting the TIE X7 title, which makes it 2 points cheaper, and you then get a free evade token after performing a 3, 4, or 5 speed maneuver. And yeah, and then in case I didn't mention it, Special Forces TIE Fighter, those are really good and very durable, especially quick draw. If you're just starting out, that's a very powerful ace to have in your build. And then finally, the Scum Faction. So Scum kind of feels like, as a faction, Imagine the Joker from the animated series, which was voiced by Mark Hamill, by the way. In Star Wars, that's kind of what it's like. They're just happy-go-lucky, and they're very much all about the going against the odds. And so they're kind of durable, kind of like some of their ships are kind of durable, like the rebels. But and then the pilots have like these mechanics, if you will, more mechanic than gimmick, but a mechanics that are very risk oriented. So they're just lots of fun that way. So that's just the factions. And okay, and yes, I am reading notes. Okay, and then the second tip, and this applies to everyone, is go to the Facebook page X-Wing Swap. So it's a closed group. You're going to have to request permission, but on there are people who are getting out of X-Wing, which I've seen quite a few people. So if you're looking to get into X-Wing, it's pretty good. Usually people are pretty nice about like selling their stuff. Like I had a friend, just locally, he was able to buy some stuff from a guy for like half off. Not guaranteeing everyone is that nice, but usually they're willing to like cut you, like because it is used. Like they're pretty willing to negotiate there, and you can trade just about anything. I had a friend; he got X-wing ships by trading magic cards. So if you have something like magic cards or some other like I don't know fandom that you're a part of that you think people would be willing to trade, you can mention that. And then, be able to trade that barter that way. And again, this is applicable to like everyone. If you're in X-Wing, but you're looking for deals, or you're just looking to get started, that's a great way. One time I traded a guy on there. I traded my 1 K-Wing and managed to get a TIE Striker and a Special Forces TIE Fighter. So great deal for me. And obviously like the guy, he reached that trade, so he felt like he came out ahead too. So it's a great way to build your collection and help build someone else's and just be a part of the community. All right, so tip number 3 is if you're just starting out, I wouldn't recommend placing priority on purchasing an X-Wing playmat. The reason being is they're $40 usually, and that is like 2.5 or 2 2/3, basically 3 small ship expansions. So you could actually get yourself quite a bit ahead in your collection if you forgo the mat. Behind me, and you may have seen this in some of my videos, is a playmat that I made with my wife. And we decorated and stuff. And so that's, lovely idea. By the way, if you're dating or looking for something to do, yeah, or if you're married and your wife's wondering what the heck this X-Wing game is, this is an excellent way to like break her into where you're getting yourself into. Anyway, so this, like the material for it was like $3, and then again I decided to make a date out of it, and so I paid like $10 in material and like for the paint and stuff to put on here. And yeah, so you can like see the nebula, and then I also use like Sharpie to add like, can you see it? Yeah, like stars. This is supposed to be an eclipse, but it's actually, a lot of people think it's a black hole. That's pretty cool too. So I'm okay with that. And then also, is it there? No. Well, I think you may have seen it, but on the other corner there's like Saturn, and it looks pretty cool. So yeah, making your own mat is a great way to just save yourself $40 in the short term while you're just building up your collection, but it's still having a mat to play with just to define your play area and keep your bases pretty clean. And also another note about that is, so I used cotton because it was cheap. The problem with that is the ships tend to slide. So, bit of a problem. If you're playing just with your friends casually, not a big deal. But if you're like prepping for a tournament and, that's important, the bumping, or if you're playing with a friend who like really gets easily upset about that, then I wouldn't recommend getting cotton, but I think I had a friend, he did a similar thing and he got felt, and that's a lot better. It sticks a bit, doesn't slide as much, so it's a lot better, and it's pretty cheap too. It's a lot cheaper than $40. It's like at top, maximum like $5 you're paying. So it's a great solution for the short term while you're building up your collection. All right. So the fourth one I want to mention to you guys is kind of like my thoughts about purchasing epic ships. So I currently have not bought any epic ships, and right now I have no plans to buy an epic ship. And the reason for that is they're just so dang expensive. Like $60 to $100 in the case of like the Imperial Raider, that's $100. To me, that's just not worth it. Now that said, there are pilots that you can only get in a epic ship. So, like for example, like for me, an Imperial player, if I want to get Juno Eclipse, who is a TIE Advanced fighter pilot, then I would need to purchase that expansion or find someone on X-Wing Swap who's willing to power with her, which they're probably not unless there's some of their entire build, because she's a really good pilot. So in that case, I would recommend totally, if there's a couple cards you need in an epic ship, it's gonna, in the case of the Raider, it's $100. So you're investing quite a bit, but you can sell cards that you're getting in that expansion that you either don't need or there's just plenty of copies of. Like, for example, in the Imperial Raider, there's 4 copies of the TIE Advanced title and 4 copies of Advanced Targeting Computer, which only works for the TIE Advanced. So you can keep one for yourself and then sell those pairs together, the TIE Advanced and the Advanced Targeting Computer. And when I actually bought mine too, because I didn't want to pay $100 for that expansion, or not for that, well, for that epic ship, and I bought it for $10. So there's an idea for you, a way to recoup some of the money that you're investing into X-Wing. And again, sticking with the Imperial Raider. So let's say you wanted like multiple things in one set. In the case of the Imperial Raider, for me, like Palpatine, Emperor Palpatine, that's the only place you can get him. The TIE Advanced title and Advanced Targeting Computer, that's the only place you're going to get that. Juno Eclipse, the only way to get that pilot, and there's a couple other pilots in there too. So let's say you want to get like all of those things, then yeah, totally just go ahead and buy it. If there's only like 1 or 2 things you want in an epic ship expansion, then I would just purchase it online on eBay. And then if nobody's selling it, then that's a really good card, and then you'll probably have to just go ahead, buck it up, and buy that expansion. But again, you can still like sell parts of it, to recoup some of your losses. Yeah. So those are the 4 main tips I have for you guys. And the final half tip is, and of course I would recommend this, but subscribe to X-Wing Versus. And so that's more than just a shameless plug. The main reason for that is I enjoy like creating builds that either bring back a ship that you currently don't see a lot, or help you reimagine how you can fly something that's already pretty popular. And I would love to take on the challenge of like what you guys think would be a pretty challenging ship. Like one that I've had that I admit has been pretty challenging for me to create a build for is a good Star Viper build. I've had trouble making one that I think is good. Like I would actually want to fly it and have a decent chance of doing it at a tournament. Not just including a Star Viper for the sake of including it. So yeah, I'm learning like you guys, and I would really love just like to hear your ideas, like for build ships you'd like to see that you don't see very often that you would like to see in a build. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.